We got a 911 call about 45 minutes ago of two individuals laying in the street with blood on their faces. Officers responded. What we have now is we have two deceased individuals. One of them is an adult. The other one we're trying to make a judgment on. We don't have identifications on them. Working feverishly, we're looking to talk to any witnesses that we can. We've got a lot of detectives out here, a lot of police officers going to door. If anybody has any video surveillance or any information on this, we have two dead bodies in the street, so we have an absolute tragedy on our hands.
Is there a third scene? We'd heard there a report of a possible third scene. Is that the case? Is that connected?
There was an issue on Evergreen with a man with a gun. We've determined that's totally unrelated. Well, what we have is at about Horton and Melville, we have one body, literally in the middle of the street, and then subsequently a few blocks away, Melville and Francis, another individual deceased in the middle of the street. So as of this time, we're putting the pieces together. We've got a lot of support from the community. A lot of the neighbors have come out, and they want to help us, and that's what we need.
Chief, do we believe this was a moving shooting, people on foot, in vehicles?
Unfortunately, I'm not even at the point yet that I'm going to be able to say that it was a shooting. We have, if I had to bet on it, I'm guessing that's the case. But at this point in time, we're not even to that point yet. What I can say is that we have two, tragically, we have two bloody bodies in the street, and we don't have an explanation for it.
Can you talk about the area it being targeted? Some neighbors said that they didn't hear anything and they don't know if they know the individuals. Is this a targeted area? Is this a random area?
I've been up and down the street myself talking to neighbors. Is not an immediate feeling that anyone has an explanation for us, which a lot of times we'll go to a scene and individuals will be streaming out saying, I know that individual, I know what the conflict is, I know what's going on. That hasn't been the case here. So really at this point in time, it really is a mystery where we have two bodies on the street and the neighborhood is kind of throwing their hands up saying we don't know what's going on either. But I do want to be thankful because a lot of neighbors have come out in support and asked what they can do to help for this tragedy.
I know it's early investigation, suspects. Do you have any leads on that at this point?
We don't have any specific information I can share at this time. I will say I don't believe we are to the point where we have a suspect, but I think that with this big of a crime scene, it's broad daylight with this many people out and about. I think that we should be able to get the cooperation that we need from the citizens, the people in Grand Rapids, to help us out, and hopefully we develop a suspect very quickly.
Do you believe there's a reason for people to be on the lookout for anything right now, or is...
From the preliminary basis of this information, so I was on the phone with GRPS Security. We were talking about whether or not a school lockdown was necessary, and this appears to be very targeted, very personal, and I don't believe it's random in nature, and I don't believe that anybody else has a fear, anything to be fearful of.
Were there any weapons found at either scene?
I'm not at the point where I can even tell you that yet.
Chief, about how many blocks does this span? It seems pretty...
Yeah, we've got a crime scene that goes, I would say, about 4 total blocks. Yeah, it's a long way between where the two bodies were located, and as you know, if it was whether an individual was on foot, in a vehicle, since we believe those two killings are connected, that's a long space that my officers are canvassing, that they're looking for forensic evidence and things like that. So this is a very large crime scene.
And talk about, you just said it's in broad daylight. People are outside.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to the neighbors who are saying, hey, this is my block, this doesn't happen often?
Well, I'm picking up on that. That's exactly what if you guys look down that block, you'll see people are on their porch. People are talking to the police. They came out. This is not something that this neighborhood's going to tolerate. This is not something that anyone should ever tolerate. And so I'm thankful for the support of the neighbors coming out and talking to us. And I know they want answers. Just as I was on my way walking here, somebody from a porch yelled, "You got to find this out. You got to find this out." They care. And we care, and I think with everyone's help, we will be able to put this together and bring some justice for these two individuals who we haven't even identified at this point yet. But I can say that whatever answer that we're going to come to a conclusion, why these two people were murdered, I don't think it's going to make sense to either me or you.
And how do you feel knowing that neighbors are coming out and saying, hey, not on this block?
I feel good. We have seen crime trend down in the city this year. That's going to be no comfort to the loved ones of these two individuals who were murdered today. But I never want Grand Rapids to be the place that you become numb to violence. I want the people to be outraged by this. I'm outraged by this, and I know this block is outraged by this neighborhood, and I hope we never get to the point where this is the normal.
You said that at this point, as this was reported as a shooting investigation, did anyone hear gunshots, or you've been able to gather any information like that?
You know what? Pun not intended. I jumped the gun on saying it was a shooting investigation. We're not even to that point now because of the blood, because of there's some obvious injuries to the body. We went forward and said that it was likely a shooting investigation, but we're going to backtrack on that and say it is a murder investigation. But as far as the manner of killing, we're not to the point yet, and the medical examiner's on their way out. We'll get those answers, but we don't have them yet.
Do you know who called this in? Was it just bystanders or someone just walking down the street? Or?
Yeah, we got several 911 calls, and the 911 calls were individuals in the street bloody is what it was. There was not a call of a shooting, a stabbing, anything like that. So it really is one of those things that from the beginning it's a mystery. I think that we will be able to put it together and get some answers soon. I just don't have them yet.
What can people do to help?
This is, as we said, a very large crime scene. If you live in this neighborhood, if you have information about this, please come forward. Call. If you don't want to come forward to the police department, go through Silent Observer, either their website, their text line, their phone number, and get that information to us so that we can bring justice for the families of these two individuals.
Is there a third location?
You missed the beginning. There was an incident with an armed individual over on Evergreen, which has since resolved. We've determined it is not related to this incident.
And there are still police out here. About how long should people avoid this area?
I would say avoid it for another 3 hours or so, as there is a extensive crime scene. We do have to wait for the medical examination. We have a lot of evidence. We have a lot of canvassing to take place. So I would think 3 hours is probably a good estimate. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come down here.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.